The Offshore Community Project was announced about 2 months ago. This time we're fighting in the ocean, not on dreamy tropical beaches and luxurious vacation spots, but in the grittier, OSHA violation nightmare of the oil and fishing industry. Workshoppers have been hard at work making new maps for this project, so we decided to play some of them with our community and rank them from best to worst. If you like this video and want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button, join our Discord server so you can be on our next big server event.
Okay, so our first map is Aquarius. It's got the megalodon, it's got the big shark going all around. It's this like big, really nice looking, crazy looking little underwater base of sort. I don't really know what it's supposed to be. Some kind of secret James Bondian like underwater base.
It just looks like it was meant to be broken into and nothing else, to be honest.
You don't think it's some kind of like research lab? Just like another like fake TF2 like
it's
location?
Just bait. Yeah, it's just like bait. It's Bond bait.
It's Bond bait. It attracts all the like James Bonds of the world, all the secret agents.
Spies.
Yeah, it attracts all the world's greatest spies so they can all die underwater.
Speaking of underwater though, that's this map's gimmick. So basically it's payload. Throughout half the map, you have to push the cart underwater. Now, you know, we've seen this before with like Banana Bay, you know, you have to push it through the little water tunnel, but here it is just full on, you are in like an underwater tank. There's moments where if you're not careful, you can drown trying to push the cart.
Especially on the first part of the map where you first take down the payload down a big elevator from Blue Spawn into like this big vat of like seawater. It's full of like beautiful like nice like coral decoration. There's like a little dolphin that comes in that I don't think anyone noticed.
I thought you were making up the dolphin, I'm gonna be honest, until I saw it and I was like, ooh, buddy.
But yeah, that section of the map, I want to know what you think about it, because I think it's one of the rare, well-designed underwater sections of a TF2 map, because usually they're a big afterthought. There's just sort of a big vat of water with nothing in it to really interact with, just because, you know, well, certain classes can't do what they usually do and others just like heavy become floating menaces. So I don't know, what do you think about it?
I think Valve really meant for TF2 to have more underwater combat. Like, well, one of the launch maps has like a bunch of underwater sections where you can get into some scraps, but it feels like everyone very quickly gave up on that idea. This map takes that idea and just tweaks it very slightly and it immediately works, and that tweak is that like speed boost. So it gives you a slight speed boost whenever you're in the water, and immediately like all this like underwater combat feels so good. Scout was great. You can finally like dodge things underwater. Heavy doesn't feel like a slog swimming through the water anymore, because there's a lot of really unique verticality when it comes to fighting underwater, and this map has just gotten me to like see the light that maybe underwater combat is next up for this game. It almost felt like relearning TF2 for the first time in a weird way.
Coming out of that water section though, like I think we come to some of the more confusing bits of the map, especially like when you spawn from the red side. Some of my first like goes at it, I got completely lost and I couldn't make my way to the point, or at least to like, you know, to Blue Spawn from red.
Yeah, I kept going in the wrong direction and also kept doing a little ring around the roses and going in circles. And I kept thinking that I was making progress towards, you know, going to the fight, but I was just like going nowhere quickly.
I remember you had this like big theory the first time we talked about this map.
Yeah, so I have this theory that I've never seen anyone talk about. You know, when you're coming out of spawn, when you're playing TF2, at least me, I'm on complete autopilot until I get to like mid or where the fight's happening or whatever. Like my eyes unfocus, I'm not listening to anything. Your brain just kind of has like pattern recognition, like you can intuit where the point is without even paying attention. I think that's just great map design, you know, that when there's like a hiccup there, when like your brain intuits that you need to go in a certain direction and then you don't go in that direction, it suddenly feels extremely frustrating. Like I think the signage on this map is great. Like the signs tell you exactly where you need to go, but I'm not reading any signs when I'm walking out of spawn. fun. I just kind of like blaze past all the signs telling me I'm going the wrong way, and then I feel frustrated and angry at the map that I've just, that I've gone in the completely wrong direction.
You say that the signage on this map is great, but honestly, I kind of disagree. I mean, on the payload map, you can definitely get away with that a lot more because you can just follow the train tracks to get to where you need to go. But on this map, there's multiple sections where the train tracks suddenly like come to an end. For example, on this like little bit of sea, I think it's at sea, there's a sort of like platform that you need to put the cart onto, and then the platform will like move its way slowly to the other side. And a bunch of parts like this, I remember seeing people like make their way to that like bit of the tracks, and then they would just jump into the water thinking, oh, well, that's where I gotta go, and it just wasn't. It's just a thing that I've started to notice with a lot of new maps, is that people are getting a little bit shy about putting up like arrows on your map. Like, it's the best thing you could do. After like the first point gets captured, have like a big sign come out of the ground with a large arrow that just tells you go left. A lot of maps do that, and it's completely fine, but I'm seeing less and less of that, and I think we should probably bring back that trend of just a very big obnoxious arrow where it didn't used to be before.
You really need to spell it out, yeah. I don't think subtlety works when you're mapping for this game, because we're all like amoebas. None of us know anything.
Especially on a map like this, where you have to go in the water a lot. Usually the water is like where you don't want to be, especially in the last couple of maps we've received that had like, alligators and shark infested waters. So usually people really will stray away from water when they see it in a map. It's just instinct. Overall though, this map is a really, really, really cool layout. I've got some of my gripes with the last point, but I think the like Megalodon ending really makes up for it. So I don't know, what do you think about the map overall then?
I think overall the shark is awesome. I think the layout is great. Despite all the issues with like navigating it, once you learn the layout, once you know where to go, the final point, you mentioned that you don't like it. I love it. I love how you're kind of lowering yourself into the belly of the beast. I think that's wonderful. I think that's awesome. I think it's one of the few payload lasts, now that I'm thinking, that I really enjoyed, because there's a lot of big open space, and also it gives me some Mercenary Park vibes, but I think it's just because they like share a couple props.
I would say like honestly this map is really fun, it's really well balanced, and its visuals are like fantastic, so I would say that's an S tier.
Hard agree. Let's put that stuff in S tier. King of the Hill Blowout is next up, and this is a oil rig themed map, which you'll see is a common thread as we go through these maps. So, Azel, what do you think of this one?
I'm a little bit mixed about it, but in a really, really good way. I think this one has an incredible layout. This is a very interesting, almost maze-like little map that is really easy to jump around in. It's got like walls everywhere you could dream of, so like, you're not gonna get got by a sniper unless you're really out of where you should be standing. You're not gonna get got by like a surprise level 3 sentry because it's really hard to get one up and to keep it up because everybody's got so much cover. It's a massive maze and it's really cool, but there's some points where I just get a little bit too confused about it. Like the main point is, I think, really, really, really cool. It's in like 2 layers. You've got the top layer, the bottom layer. No one fights in the bottom layer ever. No one ever really goes there unless it's like one demo knight that's got like pushed off. Meanwhile, the top layer is like where all the fight's happening, and it's either like you're standing exactly on the point or you're like by a door, like sort of like shooting at the point. It's kind of weird.
I definitely found myself playing more passively on this one just because there is so much cover. I never had to worry about things like engineers or snipers, which are like big factors on why King of the Hill can kind of be a slog sometimes. But here, sniper and engineer just can't do anything. There's so much cover, there's so much verticality that you cannot like shut down the other team. It is just impossible, which is a good thing. I feel like it's really good, but I feel like when a map doesn't have those like open ranges, something just feels very off when you're playing it.
Yeah, like because those like very defensive classes, I mean, sniper, heavy, engineer, like they kind of struggle on this map. Like it really makes it so that like it's super easy to cap back. So like what I saw on this map is it's either like one team completely like demolishes the enemy team, or it's just impossible to like defend. So it's like now it's red, now it's blue, now it's red, now it's blue. It keeps the game going very long, which is pretty cool, and we like that in a in King of the Hill. You don't want to like sort of just not have a chance to cap the point back. But this one is like so hard to defend. I really don't know how else to put it.
Also, classes that aren't like able to make use of verticality just feel very neutered on this map. Like, I was playing a lot of engineer, and I just didn't feel like I was using the terrain the way the other classes could, which, that's an inherent part of TF2, but you should never feel like...
Yeah, you shouldn't feel like it's a complete detriment to like your ability to move around the map. Like, the map needs to also be accommodating to you in some ways if you're playing sniper.
Aesthetics wise though, I really like the colors it's got. I really like the whole muted oil rig feel. One thing I'm not really big on though is how the control point looks, because it just kind of confused me. It feels a little too detailed and noisy, which, I mean, I guess that's good for like an objective you're supposed to like pay attention to, but I don't know. I prefer when control points are on the ground where I don't have to look at them all the time, rather than like these big things that I have to constantly walk around and think about, like standing on the edge of to cap. A lot of the time when I was capping, I was mostly just looking at the floor being like, am I in the capture zone? Because I would just like accidentally walk away from the capture zone without realizing, and then I didn't cap the point when I could have. That's why I think if it was just like flat, it would have probably been better.
Maybe if instead of being a tower that is like completely linked to the ground bit of the map there, maybe if it was on a platform above it and you still could have some sort of obstruction in the middle for cover, like maybe it would still be good, but you still have cover on each side pretty much. So like, it's cool that it's there and that it offers a lot of cover, but it's a bit too much to the point where like, yeah, it does just kind of take up a lot of space that you just need to stand.
it really
So
felt like
it's
much.
strange.
It was the only time in TF2 where I've had to actively look at my feet to make sure that I'm on the control point, whereas like, anywhere else you can just like intuit that very easily.
I think this is a solid A. I wouldn't say it's as good as Aquarius in terms of like, how much fun we all had on it, I think, but it's definitely like way up there, and I'd love to see it in the game.
I think it's a map you should definitely play at least once. A tier.
Next map that we played was Alongside.
It really feels like one of those 2008, 2009 custom maps that you'd see. This map just feels very classic. It really has that vibe of like a map maker in the early days trying to make a map look as TF2 as possible, and I think that's incredibly charming. As for like the offshore theme, besides like the ship that you can see as like a set piece, there isn't really much to it, and I'm not knocking it. I don't think this theme of offshore, it decides whether a map is good or not. I just think they didn't do as much with it as they could have. But gameplay wise, I feel like this map is kind of a mixed bag. I don't know. What do you think?
I've definitely ranted about this for like hours before, but honestly, I love every bit of this map except the B point. And I'm not gonna go into it for like hours and days on end on this, because I could go on, but the B point is so frustrating to me because first of all, to get there, the blue team needs to go through this very annoying downhill choke point where you have all this like free space on the right to just build a level 3 that is like in such a perfect spot that a demo man can't really get to it, soldiers can't really get to it, and like Uber pushes, you can get an Uber in there and then you get through it, but then you have to be past the choke point in this zone where you now need to make the car to do a complete loop around this wooden structure there. And to top it all off, it's right in front of the red spawn. Like, one good teleporter and it's genuinely just impossible to make it past this point as the blue team, because if you get wiped, which will happen since you have to be in this little zone where the red just has so much easy control and so much of an easier access to the whole place, after that you're sent back behind the original choke point, so then you just lose all of your progress, and it makes it such like a never-ending Sisyphean task. And I don't know, I didn't like it at all. It's the one gripe I have with this map. But other than that, every single other spot on this map I think is like fantastically well balanced.
It's one of those that you can definitely put on and like have each class shine very much equally. One thing as a side note that I really want to like mention is the weird amount of fog on this map. It's really odd. It's the more I look at it and the more I played it, the more it just started upsetting me. I just don't like the fog. It's so like, it just feels like a bit much. I don't know if it was intentional or it was like an oversight, but it is like way too murky the moment you're like looking out into an open area like at all. So I don't know. I didn't really enjoy the fog.
I've got some thoughts on the fog. I think what they were going for is that this place is meant to be a sort of like fishing town with a big like docking port for ships and whatnot, and a lot of like, you know, fishing and trade is going on. And so they were probably trying to get the same vibe as Brine, and that one really nails that like atmosphere, and it has that little bit of fog. It's a little bit gray, it's a little bit greenish. I don't really know exactly, but that one really handles it well because like the whole map sort of carries those colors and those vibes. Meanwhile here, I think like it has that similar fog, but the rest of the map's colors and lighting, especially I think the skybox, that fog just doesn't fit because of all that.
That's a really good point. Like the really sunny skybox and lighting with this kind of fog, it just wouldn't happen in real life. It just feels a bit off.
Like aesthetically, it's the only thing that's really put me off this map. Other than that, all the inside locations don't have that problem, and they're all very beautiful. There's even this little bit at the end here with the little moving platform you can stand on. I don't know if you can build on it.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
But it is awesome.
Overall, I had a lot of fun with this map. I don't know about you. What do you think we should rank it? Because I think it's an A as well.
I think it's definitely an A. If the B point and the visual fog stuff was cleared up, I could see it being an S tier.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, well, it's definitely an A for now. After that, we played Demolition, and I've got to issue a quick warning, a quick attention everybody warning, big drama is about to happen. Demolition is not a part of the Offshore update whatsoever. The creator posted a comment saying that the map is unrelated, but it's just a really cool looking oil rig, which is like perfectly fitting into the style. We still played it because it looks cool, it's super into the style, it came out just at the right time. Just know that it is not affiliated whatsoever, so we're not like saying this is an offshore map.
Offshore, more like, fuck, man.
Fuck, man.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Can we go back to land? But yeah, no, this map is a really cool gimmick. Every time a team loses the point or doesn't have the point capped, they have access to a little shortcut, which is a door that opens directly from like their spawn area, instead of the team that currently has the point only has access to a long roundabout to get to the point. Personally, I had a lot of fun with it, but the more I've had time to sit and sort of think about it and what I think about it as a map, I don't know. I'm feeling a bit mixed now. What do you think?
I think this map feels a little too small. It's not like small as in like, oh, it's choke point heaven. Like there's not really any choke points. It just feels like I don't really have as much space to maneuver around as I'd like to. There was definitely moments where I was like, really, that's it? Like I was walking and then the path just ends and there's nowhere else to go, and I'm just like, really, there's no more surface area to this map? Like that's just all we're doing? That no more? That's a big reason why I didn't have as much fun with it as I wanted to. But honestly, still saying, I really enjoyed it. I did really enjoy it. I don't want to sound like I'm a big hater, because the middle point I think is great. Lots of cover, but it's still wide and open. It feels like it addresses the problem that I have with the other point, where it's really clear where the point is. There's a lot of space on the physical point to maneuver around, but it's also like surrounded by really good, well-placed cover, and I think that's great. I think the control point part of this control point map is great, and that's, you know, that's the part you really gotta nail down.
Yeah.
The part that I also really keep thinking about whenever I play this map is the house kind of room thing next to the control point. It's got some nice verticality to it with the stairs
It's got those windows you can like shoot from as well.
Windows to shoot from 100%. It was my favorite area to hang out in because all the really fun interactions happen there. So genuinely kudos for that. That was great. As for the gimmick of, you know, being able to get to the mid faster if you don't have the point, I just never found myself using it that much because I feel like as a TF2 player, this is like a fault of my own. I always just kind of pick a way to get to the middle point and just go that way no matter what.
Defaulting back to the autopilot.
Yeah, absolutely. But then I was like, oh, let's explore a side path. Let's turn off the autopilot. And it's like, oh, wait, there is no side path because my team has the point capped. Okay, I'll use the side path when I lose the point, and then I lose the point and I forget about the side path and whatever. I'm just like, blah. But I think in general, this map is fun enough to give a try.
Honestly, yeah, I think the map is really fun, and if you can play, you definitely should. But I think the gimmick has like an inherent problem because like at the end of the day, like not having access to the checkpoint just basically means you have the equivalent of a longer respawn time, right? You might as well like be dead for like longer if you don't, you know, if you have the point, which already happens in the game, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
So it really just kind of like delays the amount of time you have to get back to the point, because on top of that, the default side path that you are in when you have the point capped, it's not really interesting. There's nothing cool happening there. You'll never get into fights there because there's no incentive for the enemy team to push you in that side of the map or to really go beyond the point at any moment. It's king of the hill, right? Because of the map being so small, people would much rather just stay on the point in the larger areas of the map and sort of occupy that space. But I think because of that, it's just inherently like a flawed little gimmick that doesn't really actually add that much. I think it would have been much cooler if the map was just slightly bigger. If instead of like having nothing on the side of the point, you know, like on the side that has the little island tower you can actually stand on if you're playing like Soldier, maybe having like a couple more platforms that you could like jump to or like stand around or whatnot, like maybe a little bridge. And instead of it being like, oh, you have access to one shortcut to the point when you don't have the point capped, instead it should probably be like you have access now to like more flank routes, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, because otherwise you don't really have access to anything. If you take the long way, you go to like one door only and that's it. I don't know, it's very strange. It's just too small. It should have been more flank routes instead of just one extra door.
Yeah, it's a little odd, but I think it's quirky, but it's with it. I think this map is still fun to play. Definitely an A tier.
I think I would give it a B because I don't know. I don't really see myself playing it as much as Blowout or Alongside.
Yeah, that's fair. When you compare it to those two.
In comparison, it's just,
I see.
It doesn't stand. It's a really nice and fun little gimmick map. It's like fun for a short, quick little match. For like a proper like long game of TF2 that you want to have, that's just not going to be it, is it?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I agree with B. Next up, we got naphtha. That means like oil in Bosnian. I know that's not what they were going for, but it's a little Bosnian.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it means crude oil. So naphtha is an oil refinery that's in the middle of the night, and it's another King of the Hill one. The cool thing about this one is that there's some oil little ponds that you can walk into that coat you with the gas passer, so you can then be set on fire.
Well, actually, there's only one of those in the map. Right next to the point, there's like a little bit of spill there. When you stand on it, it does coat you with the gas passer effect, but it's the only point of the map that it does happen.
Yeah, so I'm misleading you a little bit. It's not really a selling point of the map. It's more so like an Easter egg, which is a shame because I think it's cool.
Why are you guys saying this? This is oil, man. This is oil, man. Get out of it, man. This is oil. No, man. What are you doing, man?
It should have been more central to the map. I feel like the control point maybe could have been coded with it or something. Maybe that's not a good idea.
Maybe that would have been hell. But like, for example, like, yeah, like you were saying, like all those like ink spots there, like ink spots or like oil spots, I guess. Those could just like be like a cool environmental hazard that you don't see happen in any other map. I think they definitely had the idea to do it, but they ultimately had to keep the map very casual friendly.
Which is a shame. It's a shame. shame. It's also another one that's like multi-level. It's got a ground floor, it's got an up top where the point is, but I feel like on this one it never really felt like you needed to decide whether to go top or bottom. It was just kind of where you ended up. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but like there wasn't really much thought in my positioning while playing, because I guess it just flowed really naturally for me, where I just never had to think about that. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know.
It's definitely good for like autopilot mode
Definitely.
style of gameplay. But yeah, no, I think this one has like a layout that like you said just flows really, really good. And because of that, there's fights happening all over the place, not just on the point, which I think is like the biggest thing that sometimes holds back Kickoff map from being really, really good. This one kind of reminds me a lot of Blowout, but like if it was more open and really large. I think it kind of did that better. Like I said earlier, it's got this platform above the point as well. All the like little maze-like little flank routes that you can take. They're all like big wide open rooms where like a ton of fights happening. I mean, I was going scout and going crazy in there, and you saw like a lot of people like set up in there and just fight for their lives in those corridors.
Definitely a super competent map. Definitely not. There's no issue here that you can go like, oh, that sucks or whatever. It's one that's 100% very well made, and you can tell that every corner of it was very intentionally designed. It's just kind of missing a little sauce. I'm just saying, it just needed something a little more unique to it. Maybe all the like countless rounds of like two train and falling on our server has like completely like numbed me.
I think we are like so numb now to like regular casual.
It just doesn't even hit a quarter the same.
Yeah, no, not at all. But honestly, like, you know, honestly, even though it doesn't have like a gimmick, I think this map's really cool. I think this is probably also one of my favorites. It's got a little alien reference on the blue side in one of the vents. If you look up in one of the flank routes, there's just like a xenomorph head coming out, and it's like it's a scout cosmetic, but it's still really fucking funny.
Pop culture reference. Ding ding ding.
No.
But yeah, you know, honestly, other than this like really neat but like underutilized like oil spill mechanic thingy, like I don't know, I feel like it's either you put it in or you don't, and they kind of just couldn't decide, so they were like, let's just keep it in because it's cute, and it is. But like, man, you could make a whole map out of this. Not a whole map, but like you could make a whole ordeal with an environmental hazard like this, and it would be so cool.
100%.
This one is like a lot more tame though, because it's trying to aim for casual, and honestly, I think it should get in.
Absolutely. I think it's good. I don't like looking at maps on whether or not they should get in or not. I'd rather just judge them based off how fun they are and how pretty they are to look at. But if there was a map that just screams casual rotation, it's this one.
Ever since we played it, I've just kind of been wanting to play on it again. I can't really say that for the other maps because I don't think, oh, I want to play one specific map ever. Like that like never happens to me, except for this map. I've kind of been craving it. So I think that's an S.
Yeah, we've got ourselves another S tier.
Next up, we played CP Cargo. So when we played it, it was a unfinished version. It was for a playtest, but the current version isn't that different from what we played. So I think honestly we should still be pretty accurate. I really liked CP Cargo. I've got just a couple tiny nitpicks.
It's got Gorge vibes written all over it. So you've got two control points. You know, you come out one end, you go to the other. The first point is taken very quickly, and then after that, you proceed to the final point, which is like sunken into the ground, giving some massive Gorge vibes. Oh, guy in like a hole being like, I'm getting some Gorge vibes here. But you know, it's just like the final point just screams Gorge but more open, which is kind of awesome because I do like the final point of Gorge. It's just not open enough, but this just feels like it's Gorge but good. And honestly, I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's a fun point to defend, it's a fun point to push into. And notice how I'm talking about the final point a lot, because I genuinely cannot tell you anything about the first point. It just feels incredibly forgettable. I don't know, I just forgot about it immediately after we stopped playing it. But that second point, the final point, it has stuck with me. I think it's genuinely well designed. I think the cargo containers makes for some like great cover. I think it makes sense that a ship like that would have like a sunken in part. It just feels right. I cannot praise this point of it enough. I think it's incredibly fun.
And you were having a lot of fun as engineer down there.
Yeah, I was moving my sentry around a whole bunch. I usually never defend as engineer, but I saw that point and I was like, okay, that actually looks fun to like maintain a nest in. And it really was. I think that point is really well made. I think like the map makers really outdid themselves there, but it feels like all the passion went into that point because the one before it, I just cannot tell you anything about it. It is like a complete blur in my mind.
I think the reason why, at least the main reason why you don't remember anything about the first point is because Blue kept capping the first point in the first 30 seconds of the game. That was mainly because like the first Blue spawn is very wide and it's a little confusing to like make sure of like, okay, well, where is Blue actually coming from? So a lot of the time I noticed that like red teams would just like go to like only one of the blue doors and then the entire blue team went around them like a fucking cartoon, capped the first point and then died to a sentry on the last.
It's just like it just happens so quickly that that it's physically impossible to form an opinion on that first point. It just goes, it's just gone.
I got to play a bit more of it in more playtests, but like the first point honestly is still really cool as well. It's a lot like the first point of Mercenary Park. Here you don't have the things on top, but you've got the entire lower area of Mercenary Park with like a really nice way for red to actually set up and defend that red just never seemed to have on this map for some reason when we played it.
It just never happened, yeah.
I think red just kept getting confused as to where blue was coming from. I don't know, it like it's true that like when you see this point, you kind of think, oh, okay, so there's going to be a larger area beyond the point we should set up. So I think that's just what happened. A lot of people got confused. I still think the first point is really good as well. Just that in our playthroughs, we didn't get a lot of experience with it. We were talking about this before at some point. This map doesn't completely make full use, at least on the first point, of its cargo ship setting. Going back to cool environmental hazards, but I think like a couple more bits where you could potentially fall off the ship would have been interesting, right? There's one section in a corridor where there's these like rescue ships and this like big open hole in the wall to enter those ships. You could like send them flying out into the sea, but I don't know, it's the only bit of the map you can see that happening, and it's not in a great spot for it to happen a lot, so I don't know, I just kind of wish there was more of that. Besides that small nitpick of mine, I think this is a really cool map. The inside sections of the ship actually don't feel as tight as you would expect. They're pretty wide open. You can actually rocket jump in a lot of these places.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not a bad map at all. There's a lot going there, and I cannot suck off that final point enough. I think it's great. So I would put it in B tier.
I was kind of teetering between A and B because I do like it a lot. I don't see myself playing it as much as a map like Blowout or Alongside, but it's definitely like up there. For me, it's a high B, I'd say.
Definitely a high B. So again, we're deep underwater in a little research whatever thing with Capture the Flag Pressure. Now, Pressure is this sort of research base that's also part of a ravine, a little mine. It has this sort of muted color scheme. You know, it's very dark since you're very deep underwater. There's not much light coming out. All the hallways are like surprisingly like moody lighting wise. I think it looks incredibly cool, and it kind of looks lived in a way. It looks like a place you could really see like a bunch of little scientist dudes doodling in. Also got a little underwater cave system, which I keep forgetting because after that first map having like a speed boost while you're underwater, I've avoided all non-speed boosted water like the plague. So I've not
so water in every other map basically.
Yeah, so I've not been swimming as much. But conceptually, this is a really cool Capture the Flag map. It has an intel room that's very reminiscent of Turbine, which I feel like the intel room in Turbine is the only good part of Turbine. You can fight me on this, but I'm correct. So I don't really know about... Okay, can we stop pretending, Azel? Can we talk about the...
Yeah, no, this map is cursed. There is a curse living within
this is not okay.
There's something really bad going on in this map, and we don't fucking know what it is.
Okay, can you give them the lowdown?
On paper, this should be a really cool Capture the Flag map. However, for God knows what reason, every time we put it on a full 32-player server, I remind you, no one fought. Not a single fight erupted. And that's just not normal.
And we're not saying like it was like a friendly party where everyone was being friendly. I'm just saying that no one was doing anything. Like, you'd think that middle, like, cave part would have a lot of cool fights happening, but no one was there. No one was ever anywhere.
There would only be any action in the midpoint of the map when the round started and people started exploring the map. Other than that, it was like, you just see like one or two classes like just sort of like make their way across, not really like seeking to even kill one another. It was just very, very, very weird. And I mean, you can tell that it was clearly meant for like a lot of action between soldiers or like, you know, engineers or whatnot. And we definitely have footage of like people fighting in here and like, you know, team fights happening. But like most of the time on these maps is not spent fighting. It's spent with like everyone just hanging around the intel room for an indefinite amount of time until they realize that they can go into this midsection of the map, make their way across to the other side, and then just like instantly die in the enemy intel room because they also have 20 million sentries and heavies just wandering around there. People just don't seem to like be engaged by the map.
It feels like when, as a kid, you would arrive at the playground, but you weren't really feeling it, so you're just kind of in the corner, like, kicking rocks. It was almost eerie in a way, because most of the map was dead quiet, even though we had 32 people. It should be packed. I should not be able to turn around and scour a whole area and just see no one there in a full 32 player server on any capture the flag map. It's just how it was. Everyone was just kind of not engaged at all. Everyone was just kind of, I don't know. It's just so, this is like never
so
happened
weird,
before.
right? You can't describe it. This never happens in any other map. People were not friendly. They were completely numb.
Yeah, there is
a curse on this map.
There was no, it wasn't like, oh, we all started a friendly party. No, people were looking for each other to like fight, but they just never got to the part where they fight. It was just
and it's not like the map was too much of a maze or too big or whatnot. It just seemed like people just couldn't encounter each other in a way that like led to good team fights. And I think the reason for that is it's still due to the layout of the map, but like there's got to be something more than that, because even on maps that have not so good layouts, you know, there's still team fights happening. People still want to like engage with the map, but it just didn't happen here. And I think like part of it is because the spawns are on both ends. Like, picture the map as a big horizontal rectangle, and each team is on the right and the left side of the map, and they both have spawns that let them come out from the top and the bottom of their respective side. And this creates this like weird dichotomy where like you've got like the whole center mid path that you have to get on from what would have essentially been a flank route. So there are no flank routes in a map like this. And even if you go in the like underwater, you know, bit of the cave system, you don't come out in like a spot that is any advantageous. You come out of these like tunnels that just leads you in front of the enemy spawn again. So I think because of that, like the people just straight up were like dulled by the way the map was like working. And on top of that, when you come out of spawn, it's like a 50% chance on whether or not you go to the right direction out of the intel or towards the intel. And like 90% of the time I was walking into the intel room by accident.
This needs to be like studied. Like, what happened? Like, how did this happen? And I feel bad because like I don't want to say that it's the map maker's fault. Like, it's just like it's so strange. Like, how do you rank this when you feel like you haven't really played it properly? Like, it feels like we haven't even mentioned that like shooting gallery little mini game.
Right.
Because no one was doing it. I like did it and then I forgot about it and then I just went back to being like a shallow husk roaming the halls.
I was just about to mention all of these details because like I'm really now trying to say that there is no content to be found here, right? That there's no game. Because there's a lot of stuff. There's this little shooting mini game in one of the stands at the intel room. There's this like button you can press to like make the shark roar. I don't know who did that sound effect, but it's really cool. The briefcase has a custom model made for it. You can see like all of these fish and all these dolphins and these sharks swimming in front of the intel room window, and there's like all these signs in the wall that like move like they're from Half-Life 1. It looks great. I'm not so sure about the cave area because it's just green and it kind of doesn't fit, but it still looks pretty cool. However, there has to be some kind of like siren that's like, you know, making everybody fall asleep when we put the map on, because like 32 people should not just like sit sit there in each spawn and just like not want to interact with the map. It's so strange, and because of that, I think I unironically have to give the map a C for cursed, because I just don't know what happens in it.
If we can get some Bing Soy type investigation on this, like that, we need to like get to the bottom of what is happening.
Yeah, there's the ghost of a long dead and forgotten captain haunts the halls of the pressure CTF laboratories or whatever they're supposed to be.
Like, this is where Ben drowned, or something. Like, I don't I don't know what to tell you. I think overall the offshore map selection is great. I think workshoppers have done it again. They have created a wonderful selection of maps and done a lot with the very honestly bare bones theme that they were given. So honestly, I would chalk this one up to a success. I think offshore maps wise got off to a great start. I think it all looks great. I'm a big fan, and I hope Valve adds at least some of it.
I agree. I think map-wise, we are eating pretty good with these maps, and I hope they inspire a couple more maps in the future. I'd really love to see I'd love to see a full payload map that is entirely underwater. Like, cut the drowning damage out of the game somehow with VScript or whatever magic we can do nowadays, and just have a complete submerged map. It won't be casual friendly, but it's just for fun, because it's fun, it's cool, it's really, really cool.
If you want to see more stuff like this, head on over to our Discord server. We run regular TF2 game nights where you can play all sorts of maps and game modes with us. We even take clip submissions for community clip dumps we'll release on the channel. So yeah, hope to see you there.